Let's talk about Tommy Rich for a minute. At this point, he has already been the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He's been a huge fan favorite for years in this territory. Watching back that promo, though, like he doesn't have this big muscular physique. He's very quiet, very mellow, reserved on the microphone, as opposed
Yeah.
to like a lot of guys back in those days that were just shouting all the time. And he doesn't, I don't know, for me, he's just not like jumping off the screen the way that you or Jake or Ric Flair do during your
Well, and
promos.
now there's, if you saw him in some other promos, he could cut a pretty good promo, and and he was well, he was good. I mean, obviously the girls loved him. Here's this good looking guy with long blonde hair, and uh, you know there wasn't anything not to like about him. And again, it's the good old country boy thing, and so yeah, I mean, and he got over because and he could work. That's the thing. It's like in wrestling. It's kind of like there's a lot of great big physiques. Ultimate Warrior had a tremendous body, but he couldn't work worth the crap.
Hmm.
I mean, he had to be led around by his nose, and even then, he wasn't very good. There's the difference. Tommy didn't have a great body. I didn't have a massive body either. And it's about what you can do in the ring and the story you tell and how you tell it. And that's what comes across. Charisma. You either have it or you don't. And he had it too.
Well, there's no denying that connection with the fans. You could hear them even during that promo that he was cutting, saying like, "You did win," and really kind of starting to get fired up about this potential of him, having to leave. Talking about Tommy, it makes me wonder. Vince had scooped up pretty much anybody who had success in the territories during these days and turned them into household names with his TV. Why do you think Tommy never got a shot up there in Connecticut?
I don't know if I really don't know at all. I don't know if if he didn't get a shot or he didn't want to go there. I don't know.
It makes
You
you
know,
wonder, and I know that Vince is like a body guy and whatnot, but Vince, he also brought in guys who didn't have great bodies, who were just connected with the audience. So I don't know, it's just strange.
yeah, yeah. I have no idea. I really don't.
Well, Jake has been open about not being a big fan of Tommy's and has talked about Tommy burning a lot of bridges in the territory by showing up drunk. Tommy himself has admitted that there were days he'd wake up and crack a beer and not stop drinking until he went to bed that night. I've heard a number of talents who worked with Tommy over the years talk about him being drunk while they were in the ring with him. But most of these talents, whenever they talk about him, they say like, "Hey, but it was still a good match, but he was drunk." Did
Well,
you ever?
you know what? I can't. That's almost some of that's kind of surprising to me because I never really witnessed that.
Really?
And I don't know if that was. I never knew him to be drunk in the ring or anything like that. Wow, I didn't. Yeah, I can't recall any time that I worked with him that I was, like worried or upset that he was, wasted.
Yeah, Jake had told a story about him. I think it was like he got into a strap match or something. It was like this really brutal, vicious kind of match. And Tommy was drunk, and afterwards he got on the mic and he wound up like kind of he's a baby face, and he wound up kind of like yelling at the fans and saying like none of you actually care about me. It was like one of those kind of promos, even though he's a baby face.
Yeah,
And Jake was like, man, it was just like embarrassing, and he left the promotion shortly thereafter. So I was
yeah,
like, geez, Ted is working hand in hand with this guy, pretty much for your entire run. So I'm like, I'm wondering if you ever saw anything, but you never experienced it.
I didn't. No, man,
Interesting.
glad I didn't.